control the temperature with that. It has a good airflow that circulates around the produce, and so you get a nice, even drying effect with the dehydrator. Some people will try to do it in the oven, but it's very hard to maintain your oven at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Ovens just are not meant to do that. They, usually are 200 and above is the temperatures that you want to do. You can room dry herbs. I know some people, who hang herbs like in their attic or something like that. That works okay. But to dry, your pineapple slices or, your jalapeno peppers, it's going to go moldy before it dries. And unfortunately, in New Hampshire, you can't do sun drying because our humidity and, our weather is just so unpredictable. It'll be a beautiful dry day, one day, and then the next day it's 90 degrees and 100% humidity. So you really cannot do sun drying in New Hampshire. It works out great out west because they have that nice dry heat, but in New Hampshire, the food dehydrator is the best thing to do if you want to go for dehydrated food. And that's it. So does anybody have any other questions at all, or? Sure.
I have a question. Back a few slides, when we were talking about the freezing, the bottom picture, what was that on top of it? Was it like paper or?
Oh, yes, I think that's what they did. They had a container and, go back there, right here.
Yeah.
So they did some, because it wasn't completely full, because you want to leave some headspace for the expansion, but they wanted to keep the peaches under the water.
Oh.
So I think they put that crumpled paper down on that, just to kind of hold it down, and then as it froze, it would squish the paper, but,
Couldn't quite tell if that's
Yeah.
what it was.
yeah.
You talked earlier about aiming to repeat and not being able to do it this time.
Right.
If you're pickling green beans a week, is that?
Then you can do it in a boiling water canner, right? Because when you're pickling beets, what are you doing to the beets? What are you adding to the beets, most likely? Yeah, right, so you're adding that vinegar, that acid to it, and that acid is going to kill the botulism and keep it from growing.
The other is when ceramic stoves, glass top stoves.
Yes.
That's what we call my glass top stove saying, you know, can on. So what's the scoop there?
Okay, very good question. With these types of canners, okay, when you have a glass top stove, first of all, you have to have good contact with the bottom of your pot and the stove to get good heating. And if you look at the bottom of this type of canner, you can see, look, there goes the sugar. You can see it's very ridged, so you're not going to get a good contact on your stove with that. The other thing is that unless you have a stove that's geared towards canning, because some glass tops you can can on, what happens is this gets very hot, and as a result, it can cause crazing or damage to your glass top by doing the canning. So that's why they recommend really not to do it on a glass top. I had a glass top stove when I lived in Derry, and I had a burner on my gas grill outside. So that's what I did, is I went outside, put it on the burner on the gas grill outside. It wasn't too far of a walk. I did everything inside. Got like a tray, brought it outside, put it in the canner. When it was done, brought it back in. It was a little bit of a hassle. It wasn't too bad. I wanted to do it, so you figure out ways to do it.
The jellies and stuff like that. Now, before people used to use the paraffin on the top. That's not necessary using that kind of.
Right. They don't recommend doing paraffin any longer. What they used to do is you'd fill up your jar with the jam. You'd put a layer of paraffin, melted paraffin on top. That would solidify, and you put a lid on and a screw in, and you'd be done. But what they found is the paraffin is porous. So bacteria was still getting down in there. It wasn't, there wasn't a good seal. So now they recommend that you don't do paraffin at all, that you process them for the 5 minutes. A 1/4 inch.
A 1/4 inch?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It's usually kind of the top. It's usually kind of the top little screw thing there. 1/2 inch is just at the very bottom one, and then 1 inch, which you do for vegetables, is just a little bit below that. So, but the little headspace measurer is a really good tool to help with that. I do have an evaluation. I'm going to pass this out, so if anybody wants to leave, they can. But if you could fill this out out for me, that would be wonderful. I know the library has an evaluation, but this is more to see how much knowledge you gained tonight and what kind of practices you might do as a result of tonight. And then I also have a sign-in sheet. So if I could have everybody sign in just with your name and the town, that would be great. I need that for just recording purposes. It just goes in my file and, you know, but I just have to, I have to let since we are funded through our, through several sources, through federal funds, state funds, as well as county funds, our county legislators like to know who attended our programs. So this way I can say, well, I had 30 people from Merrimack County attend tonight, or 10 from Rockingham, and 20 from Merrimack, whatever. So that's basically what I use it for purposes, is just to look at what county you're from. And if you have any other questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Does it have the gaps or all